You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry, ChillyBoy Chillson, and this is my review for My Policeman. Now, before we get into this review, make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. My Policeman is a 2022 period romantic drama. Directed by Michael Grandage and starring Harry Styles, the film follows Tom, a policeman, in 1950s Britain who falls in love with a school teacher. But as they embark on their life together, he also finds himself torn as he has a passionate same sex relationship with a museum curator. And tensions ramp up as homosexuality is still an illegal activity. So, of course, this film caught my attention. It was Harry Styles starring as a queer police officer. Obviously, police, woo, they're a hot topic as a whole right now. And being queer and being a part of the LGBTQIA community continues to be a conversation in and of itself. To mention, Harry Styles and his queerness continue to be a conversation in our pop culture landscape. So all of this had me really curious to see the film. And if I'm being honest, quite excited to watch My Policeman. Now, the film releases October 21st in a limited amount of theaters nationwide before getting Amazon Prime for Prime Video on November 2nd. Is it worth checking out? Ultimately, I think it is. This was a good film, one I enjoyed watching, though ultimately a bit of a frustrating watch as it could have been great. But let's start off with the positives first. Well, I have to start with our acting cast, who I think all deliver strong performances here, starting with Harry Styles. He's been getting such a bad rap lately as an actor, and I don't think he was that bad in Don't Worry, Darlings, and I actually think he's very good here. This role is actually quite suited to him and his strength. His natural charisma just sings in a role like this. You can understand why people are falling in love with this charming young man. And of course, he's dashingly handsome to fit the role as well. But he also brings a lot of the emotional depth and vulnerability to this character that the role really required. And in honesty, the film doesn't really work if Harry Styles' performance doesn't work. So thankfully, I think he nailed it. David Dawson is also really fantastic here. He delivers a little bit more of a subdued performance that works really well, especially playing off of Harry Styles. And I think they had really nice chemistry. I believed in this tension and this love story that was building. And Emma Corrin is fantastic. And once again, she has amazing chemistry with Harry Styles. She delivers this irreverent performance, takes a really complex journey as we move throughout the film. As much as the film relies on Harry Styles, it relies just as heavily on Emma Corrin, and she is more than up to the task. Let me just get this superficial positive out the way. Harry Styles fans, that's right, we get booty here. It's not a whole lot. Don't go in expecting too much, but we get the confirmed Styles booty on display in this one. The sex scenes between Styles and Dawson are filmed really respectfully, really kind of tastefully done, but still get hot and heavy. So just be prepared for all of that goodness. Actually, I think everything to do with that love story specifically was really well done. I fully was bought into their love story. This forbidden love, spoiler alert, that's what makes the overall viewing experience kind of frustrating, is because this center of it all, because at the center of it all is this same sex love that is so captivating and so alluring. gonna be real. All three of our main leads had such great chemistry. I was like, can we just make it a throuple? Can't we come to an agreement and just throw all three of you into a blender and make it a nice big blended happy family or what? Because they're great together and I love all of their scenes when they are happy and having that great time in their youth. Additionally, the film was gorgeous, like drop dead beautiful. The set pieces all are stunning. The landscape shots, of course, are beautiful. The period piece costuming and sets are all immaculate. The cinematography is lush, just like you hope for in a period piece like this. Top to bottom, the film looks gorgeous. And at the end, I think it got the desired sadness it was aiming for. I left kind of downtrodden, partially reflecting on myself, partially reflecting on history. Did achieve that kind of desired melancholy, but take that with a grain of salt because getting me to be melancholy is like opening your eyes in the morning. It's just going to happen. Then, what didn't work so well when it comes to my policeman? My biggest issue ultimately is that the film kind of focuses in on the woman in the middle of it all. When in reality, the policeman should be the center. He's the center of their relationship, he's the center of their affections, and he's the title sake. Well, as I was watching it, it really feels a lot like her story. David Dawson's Patrick easily plays third wheel here. And while, of course, there are so many tragic stories like this throughout history when homosexuality was not even just illegal, when it was just frowned upon or stigmatized to that degree, where people just didn't feel safe, didn't feel comfortable, weren't welcomed to live their life, a lot of women and men found themselves in the crosshairs of people who were forced by society to enter marriages. Whether they did have feelings for that person is kind of beside the point. They had to lie to themselves, to the world, and to innocent people to survive. I just wish the story didn't focus so heavily in on her. It's really about Tom and his story, and she's a part of his tale. When you're telling this story, I really think the queer aspect should be taking center stage, and the queer characters should be the one we are focused in on. Additionally, there comes a point where it gets hard to really kind of empathize anymore. I do get to the point of really kind of feeling sad, as I said, by the end. But our characters do some really terrible things to where you're like, wow, I understand. Once again, I understand people were doing some shady stuff back when they were backed into corners, but oof, yeah, they really started to push our characters to the unlikable stage. I don't know that I loved the format. We're back and forth. It is a flashback film told from the perspective of our characters when they're older. One, it leaves you kind of just waiting for an event to happen to get them all to the emotional state they're at the later stages of their life. Two, it takes away from the most interesting aspect, the moments the film works absolutely the best, and that is our love story between Tom and Patrick. Them falling in love, them becoming infatuated, surrendering themselves to this forbidden love and to each other. And that gets interrupted, that gets cut short, and we don't get that full landscape of development because we're constantly like flashing back in and out. Not to mention, this is definitely the type of queer love story we've seen told quite often at this point, the forbidden type of story, the hidden love story in which we are meant to feel bad for a spouse because they're caught in the crosshairs. We've dealt with this quite a bit. And it's a story worth telling because there are so many accounts of this, but maybe would have just liked a period love story between these two young men. So overall, My Policeman is a solid watch. It is a beautifully crafted film, a stunning film to look at and behold, with stunning people to look at, and a little bit of Harry Styles booty thrown in for good measure. But ultimately, it falls just short of reaching the full emotional resonance and greatness that I was hoping for when I walked in for my viewing. So if you have Prime Video, I definitely think this is worth a watch. I don't think it's going to be amongst the best films you see this year, but it's certainly a solid enough film that warrants a viewing. So that is my review for My Policeman. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below and subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. What did you think of My Policeman? Are you excited to watch? Have you already seen it? If you have, let me know your thoughts either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.